Welcome to the second simulation exam. In this session, we'll be reviewing chapters 5 through 7, starting with chapter 5. And pay attention here, because chapter 5 represents 12 points on the Florida real estate exam. Question 1. In a real estate transaction, a contractor offered a reimbursement in exchange for a client referral. Let's think about it with an example. You'll have clients who buy a house and then they'll need to change the flooring, build a deck, remodel, all kinds of things. And sometimes those contractors might say, "Hey, if you send me clients, I'll give you a referral fee." So, what does the law say about that situation? The correct answer is, it's legal, as long as all parties are informed beforehand. That's the key. Transparency. It cannot be hidden. Everyone involved needs to know about it in advance. For instance, interior decorators often work with real estate agents and sometimes pay us a commission for referring clients. And that's fine, but only if the buyer, the seller, or whoever is paying knows that I am recommending this company not just because they're good, but also because I may receive a referral fee. So remember, disclose it up front and it's legal. If it's hidden, it's a violation. Question 2. According to Chapter 475, what is the penalty for a real estate licensee who gives an opinion on the title of a property without relying on an attorney's opinion, or who fails to advise the buyer to consult an attorney regarding the marketability of the title or obtaining title insurance? Let's review what we already know. From Chapter 5, we learned that a real estate licensee, whether a sales associate or a broker, cannot give their own personal opinion about the quality of a property's title. The only thing a licensee can do is read or explain what is already written in the attorney's title opinion or certificate. So what happens if a licensee ignores this rule and gives their own opinion? That's where the penalty comes in. And here's what you need to remember. The penalty ranges from a $1,000 administrative fine up to a suspension of the license for 6 months. That's why the correct answer is option B. Question 3. A broker receives an earnest money deposit, and the buyer asks that the funds be placed in an interest-bearing account. What should the broker do? Now, let's be honest. This is not something you're likely to see in real life. Most buyers have no idea that their escrow money even goes into a specific account, let alone whether that account earns interest. This is more of a theoretical exam question than a practical situation. But according to the law, the buyer does have the right to request where the escrow deposit should be placed. So, what's the correct action for the broker? The broker must deposit the money into an interest-bearing escrow account, and then at closing, those interests must be divided between the parties as instructed. Option B says, ask the seller for permission first, and if both agree, then move the deposit to an interest-bearing account. That makes no sense. You can't move it if it hasn't even been deposited yet. Option C says, it's prohibited to place escrow deposits in interest-bearing accounts. That's false. The law clearly states the escrow account can be either interest-bearing or non-interest-bearing. The key is that the interests, if any, must be allocated properly. Option D says, ask the seller for authorization before accepting an offer like this. That's irrelevant. The decision belongs to the buyer about the deposit account. So the correct answer is A. Question 4. For how many days can a broker's license be suspended if the broker fails to maintain the office sign at the entrance of their brokerage? This one is pure memorization. You don't need to overthink it. The penalty is up to 90 days. So just remember, 90 days is the correct answer. Question 5. When can a sales associate give a refund to a client? Let's clarify what a refund really means. A refund is when you take part of the commission you earn and give it back to your client. For example, imagine you have your license and your brother is about to become a dad for the first time. His dream is to buy a new home to start this new stage of life, but he's a little short on funds. Now, you learned in training that with new construction homes, builders often cover the closing costs. That means the only real out-of-pocket cost is the down payment, 3.5% if you're using an FHA loan. So, you decide, I'll help out my brother by giving him part of my commission as a rebate. Let's say the commission is 3%. If the sales price is $300,000, that's $9,000 in commission. Imagine you're with a 100% commission broker, where the only fee is $495 per transaction. That means that after paying that fee, the rest is yours. So you could give your brother almost enough to cover the down payment. He'd only need to bring a couple of $1,000, pretty much the equivalent of 1 month's rent, to move into a home of his own. Now, here's the key exam point. A sales associate can only give a rebate to a client if their employing broker authorizes it. And think about it. Why would the broker care what you do with your commission as long as they receive their agreed transaction fee? That's why the correct answer is with the broker's authorization. 6. The sales associate receives $3,000 in commission, which represents 40% of the total commission after splitting with the broker. If the property sold for $110,000, what was the commission rate percent? Now, notice the question is not asking for the amount of the commission in dollars, but rather the commission percentage. So, what's the plan to solve this? With real estate math questions, once you understand what needs to be done, they're very easy. Just simple multiplication and division. The real problem is when you don't even know where to start. But once you do, everything falls into place. Step 1 is to find the total commission. Since 3,000 equals 40%, what we need is 100%. And here's how we do it. That's a simple proportion. 3,000 times 100 and then divide by 40. When you do the math, you find that the total commission is $7,500. Step 2. Now compare that $7,500 to the property price, which was $110,000. We set it up like this. $110,000 equals 100%, and $7,500 equals X. So again, we multiply 7,500 times 100 and divide by 110,000. The result is 6.818%. And when we check the options, option A says 5%, incorrect. Option B says 6%, also incorrect. Option C says 6.82%. That's the right answer. Question 7. A seller wants to obtain a net gain of $149,500, excluding closing costs, after selling their property. For the broker to earn the expected 8% commission for this type of property, at what price must the property be sold? Let's break this down. What we're really looking for here is the sales price. We don't know the price yet, but we do know that after taking away 8% commission, the seller wants to be left with $149,500. That means that this net figure, $149,500, represents 92% of the sales price, because 100% minus 8% equals 92%. So here's how we set it up. Sales price $149,500 times 100 divided by 92. That's $14,950,000 divided by 92. When we calculate that, the sales price comes out to $162,500. Now, let's double-check the math. Take $162,500, subtract 8%, and what do you get? Exactly $149,500. Perfect match. Another way to solve it, by the way, is to multiply the possible answer choices by 0.92. If the result equals 149,500, then you've found the right answer. See? Math in real estate is just multiplication and division. The key is knowing what to calculate. Once you know that, everything becomes straightforward. Question 8. Broker Smith is a partner with Brown and another person in a real estate company. Brown and the other partner do not deal with the public. So, the big question, Do Brown and the other partner need to hold an active real estate license? The answer is no. Only the partners who actually work with the public in real estate transactions are required to have an active broker's license. Since Brown and the other partner don't interact with the public, they don't need one. Question 9. If an employee at ABC Realty earns her income through commissions from sales and rentals, does she need a real estate license? Yes, absolutely. Anytime someone is earning money through commissions on real estate transactions, they must meet the requirements of the law and hold a license. So, the correct answer here is C. Option D, which references fair housing and discrimination, is unrelated in this case. Now let's look at question 10. Where can a broker not hold an escrow deposit? The correct answer is in a mutual fund. That's not permitted. Another possible version of this same question might say insurance company. And just like with mutual funds, that's also prohibited. So remember, escrow funds must be kept in authorized accounts, never in mutual funds or insurance companies.